Hi Robot, hello Result, hello Ulrich. The next part of March's defensive thing was combining sword and shield. This time I put the notes on the ground so you'll see me peering down every so often to consult with them. But I've got my training shield, my bent old training shield here for the purposes of it. The idea is that your sword, if you're going to use the sword and shield together, two of them together provide your zone of defense. That, whatever style you go for. Each one has their advantages, disadvantages, but together they form a zone of defense. It goes against what I was initially taught, which was this was for blocking and this was for killing. But I found I won more fights when I started using this just occasionally for blocking, or more importantly, being a deterrent for blocking. I came about from an understanding that I believed that to win fights, I believe that most people lose fights because their defense fails them, not because their offense fails them. You make a mistake with your defense and you die. So that's where I've come from in regards to it. So with that in mind, I use my sword and my shield to stay alive. If I stay alive, then I can kill my opponent. Now, however you use a sword and shield, there's a couple ways to think about using it in regards to it. Remember that if you're using your shield to block blows, you can move it wherever required in regards to it. As soon as you move your sword out of that zone, you're opening an area. It's possible for attack. The classic one is this. Someone snaps you in the head. Okay? So, with that in mind, you must remember that if you may have to modify your defense slightly when moving. We've done a couple of things to try and mitigate that. For our shallow blows, we've learned to keep our basket somewhere in front of our face. Obviously, wraps are different and a number of other blows we have to move them across. I've discovered that when I throw a snap, I just pump my shield up just a little bit just to cover the head in regards to it, knowing that my opponent might throw a snap at me. When you're blocking with a sword, you have to be 100% sure you've got the block in place. You can't go shield, oh no, it's somewhere over here. The margin for error is much more with a sword. You can control the wrong angle, because your opponent will attempt to alter where their angle is, or you can just misread it. Now, the advantage of sword blocking is it doesn't blind you. I don't know about any other fighters, but I feel the most vulnerable when I don't know what's happening. Block, block, block. Oh, that was just a bad idea. Oh no, what have they done? So, by sword blocking, I found that I feel I'm in control and I can see what's happening a little bit more, and I found that to be very good for my fighting as well. Now, this is very strange, but it's actually preferable for a sword to block at right angles to the blow. So if I bring Zephyr in, trusty squire, or one of my trusty squires, she throws an offhand, block it there. Now, if she throws a snap, it's very hard for me to block it the same way though. You can, but that's odd. Most people who block it either just do this, try to cut it. It makes any sense. But still, the strongest block for an offhand is if I can throw and get it, I can solidly block it. Makes any sense. Now that's not always going to happen, but it's something to think about when you are sword blocking. Thank you. A couple of things I avoid doing. I avoid tip down. Some people do it. I personally just avoid it because faster people will pin it and roll it. I just try to keep it freer. So I put my sword point behind my shield or on the side of my shield, but I try to avoid doing that. Doesn't mean I don't do it. Makes any sense? But I try to avoid doing it where possible. Now, probably the other thing I would say for it is, of the 3 sword recoveries you do, in regards to it, teardrop, follow through, bounce through, and just straight arm back. We find that with the sword forward we use the straight arm back the most. The reason for that one is, if I throw a blow, and I go back here, I actually cover my head. As the blade is coming back from my blow, I'm using it as part of the defense to go back to a standing position. Because if I go like this, for the time being, my sword is not being used for defense. I'm not throwing blood with it, I'm just recovering with it. Which will gain an added bonus out of throwing my putting my sword in the way of a blow. There's a whole lot of other theories behind it, done by better fighters than me who have done it longer than me, but this will hopefully give you a couple ideas to start with. The big thing is, like this or like that, if you do this, it's a bad thing to do. Wherever your position, starting position is your neutral position, you should be able to throw blows from there. You have to compromise either your defense or your offense to be able to maintain your stance. Then it's probably not a good stance. You know, like you've got to block blows, you've got to do something stupid, or throw blows, you've got to do something stupid. Then it's probably not the right stance. So work on your stance being a neutral position where you can both defend and block from without compromising. If it's a sword forward stance, make sure it's not this. If you have any queries, get a hold of us on the household list. Thank you.